Morning, morning, sunshines. Get the little sleepies out of the eyes. Yup, you know who it is. Todd Durkin, back with the Impact Show. And my friends, today, I am going to be sharing a friend with you who I've been in the trenches with for 25 years. Count them, 25 years with Coach Peter Twist. Coach Peter Twist is an icon, my friends. He literally is a legend in the field of training and sports coaching. Now, when you look at a guy like Peter Twist, you're going to hear some amazing stories today. Some stories that are absolutely going to blow you away. And I don't care what you do for a living, as a mom or a dad, as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a high performer. Check out Pete's bio. I'm going to share just a very small portion of it because Pete is an amazing man. I call him Twister. Twister coached for 11 years in the NHL, both on ice and off ice for player development. He was selected by China recently to partner with the COC to modernize training and rehab for summer and winter sports. Twister has written over 500 articles, published articles, has delivered 1,500 presentations on sport, fitness, youth, mindset, health, and business. He's defeated stage 4 head neck cancer and returned to the best shape ever after age 50. As a matter of fact, today we're going to be talking about his stage 4 battle with this cancer as well. He's personally coached 700 pro and Olympic athletes. Twist Conditioning has trained over 2,000 pro and Olympic and 20,000 collegiate high school athletes. His business started in 1996 up in Vancouver, Canada. Twist Conditioning, folks. He and I have been in the trenches for so many years together at pretty much every national and international conference that exists out there, and he's truly one of the most genuine, authentic men, human beings, and coaches you will ever meet. And I'm so honored today to share Coach Peter Twist with you. Without further ado, up to Vancouver, Canada for today's Impact Show with my man, Coach Peter Twist. All right, we got Twister in the house. My man, Pete Twist, what's happening, brother?
Hey. Doing great, my man, TD. Great to see you, brother.
Great to see you, have you on the show. Welcome to the Impact Show. Are you up in Vancouver, Canada right now?
I'm on the same ocean as you are, San Diego, straight up to Vancouver, North Vancouver, North Shore Mountains, sitting at the foot of Cypress Mountain, Grouse Mountain, and Seymour Mountain, baby.
Let me tell you what, folks, if you have never met Pete Twist, he is a force of nature. He's an icon in the fitness industry. When I read his bio, that's no joke. Between training thousands of professional athletes, thousands of fitness trainers, coaches, and pros around the world, literally, and thousands of people, Joes and pros from all levels and ages, this man has impacted millions of people. So you hear the bio, you're like, oh man, this guy, what an icon. But let me tell you something. Pete Twist is responsible for single-handedly almost killing me once. Pete, can I tell the story? Can I share the story, Pete?
You bet, man. That was a great experience.
Yeah, of course, because wild man Pete Twist, he's like, TD, you got to come up to Vancouver. We'll go skiing. We'll go to Whistler. I'm like, absolutely. So I'm up at, Twister's got a condo up at Whistler, and we're up there. We're at the top of a mountain. Now, just truth be told, I like to go down blue hills. I like the blues. I can go fast. I can go straight. Twister likes the black diamonds. So they're not good on the knees. They're tough on these. Like, okay, let's go up this lift. We go up this lift. He's like, TD, I made a mistake. This lift is only one way down, and it's a double black diamond. I'm like, well, I don't do double black diamonds, Twister. He's like, you have no other choice. So it's time to get busy living or time to get busy dying. I'm like, I might die. So off the cliff goes Twister and 3 of our other buddies. And here I am at the top of the mountain. I see Twister down there, and he's laughing. And truth be told, I slid down most of that double black diamond. I made it, but he almost killed me. So Twister, I'm still here, brother.
I love it. I love it. Well, that was a theme number one, because, you're full on and I'm full on. And we were both in Vancouver speaking at a conference. And there is no time. There is no good time. There's no open time to get together and do extra things. And we've learned we need to feed ourselves, our friendship, our mind, our spirit, and there's no open time on the schedule, so you just take it, and everything else needs to wait so we can show back up our best and enjoy that. So we grabbed that time. It was a theme of straight to the top, baby, straight to the top of the mountain. Here's what I learned, and it's how I learned to ski. I went straight into the Lake Tahoe, big snow, black diamonds, had no idea to ski, basically got into a squat exercise and used my physicality. So TD, you're a thoroughbred in strength, and this was a chance with low skill and technique for skiing. You just had to rely on your physicality. And that was impressive because for those listening, TD got down lots of the mountain, no problem, with really poor skiing technique because he's got such amazing strength and athleticism. But the view from the top's great. That was a chance to feed the spirit. You've challenged yourself in so many ways and are courageous to do that. But now you're standing at the top of the peak of a mountain and you're looking down a wall. Some people like to rock climb, which is a pretty courageous sport. I guess you need moderation and good choices to do that to stay alive. I like to be on top of the mountain, hike up it in the summer, get a nice chairlift up in the winter, and then run down and ski down the walls and just jump and plyometric all the way down and kind of figure out the puzzle, how to do it, get into that athletic rhythm. But yeah, it was pretty much like a wall, but you displayed good physicality down the mountain, and in the top a little bit of straight sliding technique. But to be clear, not a black diamond, double black diamond. I love it.
In true Pete Twist form. Folks, if you ever go to Whistler and you're skiing and you see a man running down a mountain, it's probably Peter Twist. It's probably him and his dog Bruno, not far behind. I've known Pete for almost 25 years, guys, and he's a great friend. He's a great colleague. We hop on the phone every now and then. We got big things happening and run ideas by each other. And I'm really excited to share him with you today because Pete has an amazing story. He's had a lot of ups. He's even had some downs and some setbacks. And I want to go through some of these today with some of the adversities he's faced and what he's doing now, even to, I'll call it, quote, pivot in today's day. There's some great opportunities that Pete has, and I want to share them as well. So we'll try to keep the conversation fluid and flowing, but some of these are some really great stories, and Pete's a great storyteller as well. But before I go there, Pete, just so our listeners can learn more about you, I've got some rapid fire questions that you have no idea what I'm going to ask you, and you have to answer them really quick. Are you ready to go?
I'm born ready, baby.
Here we go, baby. It's got to be short and fast. The thing in life right now that you're most passionate about is what?
This moment, right now, right here, this moment, leaving each moment better than when I showed up. Number two, nature, more time in nature, healing, building, experiencing, being active in nature.
Favorite exercise of all time?
My favorite exercise of all time, it takes a 45-pound Olympic plate and a heavy strength band, combines them. So you got resistance with gravity and a line of pull. And I squat, rotate over the shoulder. My heart rate's at 200 and I'm linking my toe to my fingertips. If I had one, that's my go-to.
Wow. Now that's the first one, folks. You've heard it right here. You heard it right here at the Impact Show. What's something no one knows about you, but probably should?
What's something, I'd say I'm an artist. I got the soul of an artist. I love to create. I draw and paint at the level of a toddler. That kind of insults a toddler. It's so bad. But I love to create, and I'm focused a lot on creativity and art and bringing that in ways that we can to movement, fitness, mindset, develop and champion people. But
favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time is if I have the name right, is Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, okay. Deep.
And I think I relate to the aspiration and the struggle and respecting people we get behind in that way and believing in them, because I believe in people more than they believe in themselves. And also, going from the bottom to the top, it's a little bit in different ways my story at times. So
Yep.
That one was emotionally compelling for me
Okay.
and inspirational.
Here we go. One word answer. Favorite vacation spot.
Mexico.
Favorite song.
Pearl Jam,
Oh,
Alive.
oh, I thought you were going to say AC/DC. Okay. I think Twister with the hat on backwards, AC/DC. Um, what are you most grateful for today?
Being alive.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. Last question. How do you get your mind right every day?
I get in motion and I get in nature and I make sure I have time. Number three, solo. I gain
Mhm.
energy when I combine those
Okay.
three things.
Love it. Just a little get to know you folks. Matter of fact, I want to ask two questions I normally ask at the end of the show, Twister.
Yeah.
I want to ask him at the beginning because you're a deep soul and I'm not even going to mess around. When I say the word impact, I mean, to me, impact is everything. Why we do what we do is to create impact. What does impact mean to you?
Impact means showing up and leaving each moment better than when I arrived on a micro living hundreds of times a day. And impact means helping set people up for success, overcome challenge, and to elevate. For me, impact personally, career vision is how do I scale to impact more people in more meaningful ways.
Mm, it's good. It's good. So, Twister, I want to dive right into it.
You bet, my man.
Your career takes a meteoric rise in the 90s. You're an NHL strength coach,
Yes, sir.
and you're doing great things. You open your own brick and mortar business in 96, was it, or 99? When did you open the brick and mortar Twist Conditioning?
Yeah, 96, we had a whole pile of high performance athlete camps all over the place. And then 99 opened, my
99.
goal was to never have a facility or an office. So in 99, I opened my first facility and then offices. We had an education and product business as well. 1999 for that.
Amazing. And I remember seeing the pictures of you running up Whistler with, was it Hakeem Olajuwon and
That's right. That's
all,
right.
I mean, these guys, they were like mountain goats flying up the hill, and there's dozens of professional athletes and everyday athletes scaling it, because Twister doesn't matter if you're a kid, if you're a grandma, grandpa, he's all about highest performance. And I got to know Pete a lot on the circuit in the fitness industry, specifically at IDEA. We did a lot of work together at IDEA and have done and still will do. But I remember early in my career, early 2000s, when I was starting out in IDEA, and Pete was a guy I looked up to. Pete was a guy when I would pop my head in his classrooms. Not only was there a ton of people and great energy and great music, there was a ton of coaching going on, a ton of teaching. It was never just about going through the movements, but I always would hear Pete just coaching and specific cueing, and then stop the music and cueing, and had very, very dynamic, unique exercises. And it was there, I'm like, this guy is a legitimate sports performance coach, and I can learn a lot from this guy. And our relationship really deepened in the mid 2000s, and we actually did some collaborative exercises, and we're talking about doing some collaborative events in the future. But the reason I say that, Pete, even all the way down to the Under Armour 360, and a lot of our listeners, if they've been around a while, we're down there. You shared a story that I'd like for you to share. 2011, your world changes. What happened?
2011, yeah, I had a little health wrinkle that I had to iron out.
Mm.
And
Would you say before you go there, would you say you were at the height of your career at that point?
yeah, we had from the garage of my home, we had built an education and product that, well, we had introduced the industry's first functional training certifications.
Mm.
In linked strength, which was loaded motion, in athletic movement, and in sport balance.
Mm-hmm.
3 functional training certifications to 50% epiphany level excitement, and 50% of the industry had violent opposition to it. It was so contrarian and different than what people did for sport performance, what people did in health clubs, what people did for bodybuilding, and so on. so that was a great rise, and we had our high performance camps going. We built our product education business into 33 countries, partnered along with you with Under Armour to rewrite our certifications and under the Under Armour brand. And just everything was happening, and it was they say there's no linear path, but that was a pretty linear ascent, and just moving mountains and climbing mountains and so on. At the same time, personally, I was, as well as that linear ascent of education, products, 33 countries around the world, introducing the industry's very first functional training certifications, helping introduce that at the time, and the rapid mosh pit following everywhere we went with that, and the business that came from it, partnering with Under Armour and NHL and so on. Personally, I was living in Vancouver. It's like Canada's San Diego. It's San Diego with some rainforest and mountains, and a little bit cooler at times, a little bit more rain at times, but gorgeous, rugged playground. And I've got 2 young daughters, who I'm with personally, relationship, what I'm doing in career, and where I'm living and being on a mission and so on. And I remember it was New Year's Eve, December 31st afternoon, taking some friends and their wives, girlfriends, kids, and we went snowshoeing, Cypress Mountain. Me and a buddy took off from the group, and we started snowshoeing up, snow flying all over the place. And we just kept going. And we just kept going, and we looked at each other finally, and we had this deep belly laugh, just this acknowledgement, like we're not even slowing down, like we're rocking, man. Like we got big engines, big lungs, big legs, and we did finally stop. When you turn around from this mountain, TD, you see Vancouver, you see islands, you see Pacific Ocean. And all of our kids and our friends down below are hanging out, waiting for us to come back down. And I just remember saying, you know what, life's just a 10 out of 10 right now. How I feel, my mindset, my health, my relationship, my kids, where I live, what I do, my business, and everything's on a stratospheric rise, career and business wise. 10 out of 10. I'm so blessed. And a week later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 head and neck cancer. I had a big tumor at the base of my brainstem, and tumors in my face, mouth, throat, ears, chest. Saw my first oncologist, started to talk to me about palliative care right away, which is kind of how to die more comfortably. I immediately determined that he wasn't smart enough. And your coach has to believe in you, man. And kind of interviewed oncologists till I found one that thought I had a chance, and thought I had a chance because just happened to be at that chapter of my life, my strength and fitness and mindset was at its highest level ever. And they thought they could bomb me with highest levels radiation chemo, and I might be able to, I had so much room to fall from that higher level that I might be able to stay in the game and outlast the tumors, because of course I'm getting destroyed as the tumors are from the inside out. So man, that was like a, I liken that to a light, like walking in a room and turning off a light switch. Like my life with that news, my life immediately, everything shifted, everything abruptly changed right away. And 2 things from that. I remember my emotions, my mindset going in, honestly, not what you'd consider everything in your favor, but it kind of was. I was pissed off and angry, like this, not resentful at a system or anyone else, just it didn't feel right. It felt like a mistake. It's like, this is not my time. This is not my time. I'm under assault. I'm on a mission of positive impact. I'm like bringing light to the world, and it's almost like I'm trying to be snuffed out. And so I was angry. I was scared, and a little bit hopeless at times, yet determined. And all of the years of training and coaching come in. You know, I was kind of, people say I trained my whole life for that moment. But just one example of what I did from owning the process. And I know if they're saying it's too late, then I know every minute counts. And, you know, the longer you wait, the lower your probability goes. And so one example is when I did go into a doctor to get biopsies so that they can get assessed. I asked him, what's the process from here? And he said, well, tomorrow we send that to the lab. Probably in a couple of days, it'll get assessed. Then it gets sent from the lab to the cancer agency. You know, then they look at it, then they book an appointment. It sounds like it's going to be a couple of weeks. So I said to him, TD, I said, could you please tell me, like I have times, sometimes when you're in a tough situation, you got to be a warrior, like in sport, and you're going in and you're combative and you're battling for inches on a football field, for example. But other times in life, I get almost my most peaceful and quiet because I want to think clear. Like I feel like the warrior, but I need to be quiet and grounded and calm and think clear and be show, and other people will still get, I believe your true character shows in your toughest moments. So I show up gracious and kind and polite, and I'm as best I can. I said to the doctor, could you please tell me, with that biopsy of mine that you're holding, that's tissue from my body, cells from my body, who owns that? Do you own that? Does the medical system own it? Does the government own it? Or do I own it? And he knew I was up to thinking of something. And he just kind of smiled and he said, without question, you own it. And I just stuck out my hand as if to receive it. And he handed it over. And I said, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking this biopsy from my body. And I left. And I went on the internet and I found a private lab, the closest one to the cancer hospital. And I got in my car and I phoned with my biopsy from my body. And I'm like, I'm quarterbacking it. I'm shaving time. I'm owning the process. I phoned the lab and told them I'm on the way. And I
wait. You took the biopsy from the doctor.
I took it. Well, I asked for it.
How did I not even know that? I never knew that story. I knew the thing that you've always said. You got to quarterback your own health.
Yeah.
I didn't know you took your own biopsy from the doctor and went to your own lab. That is quintessential quarterbacking your own health, folks. That's Twister-esque. Keep going. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's you know, I know it's serious, and I know time is of the essence. You know, you know. So what if you can save a week? That week might be the difference. You know. I took it to the lab. I phoned them. I told them I'm on the way. Asked them if I can bring it. I get there. I go into the lobby. There's people lined up. I went around the back of the building and knocked on the sort of the staff entrance and where they take the garbage out. I banged on it till someone opened. I don't want to be disrespectful of other people, and I told them that. But you know, I'm moving this down the field faster. I'm fighting for my life, and maybe there's some people with stage one that this can move ahead of, a little more of an urgency. I just asked them politely to, I guess I said something compelling because they brought the manager over. I gave it right to the manager's hands. They had it done right away, and they had it in the cancer hospital the same day. You know, little initiatives like that, I think helped me be here. I trimmed the time down. Yeah. And just started thinking quarterback it and own the process, and don't take anything for granted, and don't just tuck in and follow along. Like, try and be a partner in it, to collaborate to help make it happen.
I think that's really powerful, because so many times I've got friends right now who are battling cancer of all different levels, including a stage 4. It's sometimes frustrating when you hear it's going to be 6 weeks or 3 weeks before you can get into the specialist, right? Because that's my mindset, is like time is ticking. You don't have that time, but you also understand there's a lot of people who have problems, and that mantra has always stuck with me. Quarterback your own health. Whether you have an issue, you can't wait for something to happen. You've literally got to take the initiative, like you did, Peter, to ask for your biopsy back, find a lab. Somehow you found a lab, and within hours you had answers that would have taken weeks, which potentially saved your life. Folks, that's a great lesson. I want to make sure we don't lose that, because imagine you walking onto the back entrance. I can see you now in an alley, banging and clanging on a door, and they're like, "Who's this crazy man banging on the door?" And you're just asking of like, "Please help me. I've got a serious situation here." So keep going with this story. How long was your battle with cancer?
I don't know. I feel like I'm just completing it in some ways.
Hmm.
It was that year for the treatments, and then you're dealing with of course, more. In some ways, I came back quick. Like poof, I was gone. Then I came back, and all of a sudden I started showing up at some conferences, and
Yeah.
it's almost like I didn't have Alzheimer's per se, but I'm using the example where um, I'm able to remember things, like I'm able to draw things from my history that I'm accustomed to doing, that seemed, so I could show up and do things. But I showed up into the industry and tried to get going back in with my team and my business, because people were freaked out without me there. And you just do what you think you should do when your brain and body's under assault. So you're probably not always making the best decisions. But I like to do, well, let's say this. It was 2011, and then there's months where you need, I'll just say it. I was, from the scope of the chemo radiation, I'm pretty mentally tough. My perception of it was, I'm tortured 24 hours a day, and it's relentless. Like there's not a 5 minutes where it eases off. You can catch your breath. Plus you're emotionally feeling hopeless, scared, fearful, and you're physically beat up. And I'm burnt up from the inside out from the treatment. Of all my mucous membrane is burnt up. So it feels overall mentally and physically, it feels painful and torturous. I had to strive, work hard to stay in the game, and I tried to do many things complementary to my chemo and radiation TD none of it's a miracle, but collectively, if I did 20 things that I think are in my favor, either to accentuate the chemo radiation or to restore and from it and stay alive during it, maybe it all adds up cumulatively only to 1% difference. That could be the 1%. Well worth it, man. Well worth it. So time wise, I've still got side effects from that no big deal for being able to be here. And so there's a long process of restoration and recovery. At the same time, I'm back in the game, and I did have, just to help people. I'll personalize this. It may generalize to people going through it, or everybody. Our commonality is everybody experiences difficulties and challenge. They just look different. But we all can use the same mindset and strategies to overcome and stay in the game and rebuild and stay on that path till we're our best ever into a new chapter, hopefully. But I had understandably PTSD from that experience, but I also had some structural brain damage that does regenerate from that. So if you've got some brain damage and PTSD and you're coming back, but it's invisible, and you're also trying to recover from cancer, it's kind of like going into the Super Bowl with a broken leg. Like you're actually showing up and you're in the starting lineup and you're one of the 11 men on the field with your team, and you got a broken leg. How's that going? What's it take to do that? And how's it going? Well, it takes a lot, and it's not going perfectly, but in your brain and damage inside your body, nobody can see it. So it's a difficult difficult period to navigate life, and it's a difficult period to navigate business on that side. So there's lots of that just kind of goes on, and you keep going. You just keep going, man.
Couple side notes there, Pete. I remember I got a call from April Pie Shell. I still remember this day like it was yesterday. April calls me. We're heading to Northern Virginia for Idea PT East, and she says, "Hey, would you be able to fill in for a couple of classes? Peter Twist will not be able to make the conference." Before I said yes, I was like, "Wait a second, Pete Twist don't miss conferences. Like I've been at hundreds of conferences with you, and there was zero reason why you would ever miss a conference." It was right then and there that I knew something serious was wrong. And I'm going to fast forward from that. Is about a year later, you were down at Bradenton, Florida, giving a talk to a couple hundred of the people at the UA Combine 360. And there was a baseball on my table. And there was a baseball at every seat of all of the tables there. I'm like, what is this baseball? This is interesting. Twister's talking. I don't know what it's about. And on that baseball, it said, "Today I will give everything I have. What I keep inside, I lose forever." I'm like, that's pretty cool. But what I realized after the talk is that baseball was the size of the mass in your throat. And I just remember just crying like a baby when I got back to the room of like, here you are speaking to 100 people, the most rousing standing ovation I've ever heard at a talk. And here everyone's holding a baseball with that quote on it. That was an iconic moment. You talk about moments in time. I'll never forget that. I can tell you who was in the room. I could feel the vibration in the room, the spirit in the room that night was something that I will never, ever forget. And one of the most awestruck I've ever been at listening to someone speak about life and business and friends and relationship and family and love and spirit and being a warrior. I just say thank you. Thank you for being the man that you are and how you always showed up even in your darkest times. And you shared pictures of you looking like a skeleton of losing, I don't even know how many pounds, but more about that was the spirit was the one thing they would never take. And you didn't know if you were going to live or you were going to die. But Twister, man, I just, as a friend, as a colleague, as a man, and as a human being, I say thank you for that was 10 years ago. And here you are as vibrant as that I've ever seen. And I'll fast forward from that. And I was up in Vancouver again. And this time I'm at Pete's home. And he's like, "Hey, you want a shake?" I'm like, "I would love a shake. You got maybe some chocolate almond milk and a couple scoops of protein powder would be awesome." He said, No. I got my own special shake." I'm like, "What do you got?" I walk in the kitchen and Twister, he is blending up what I have deemed now the 26 ingredient Twister's Jungle Juice. Folks, if you want to drink an anti-cancer drink, the Twister's 26 ingredient Jungle Juice is something I'll never forget. That was the first time I've ever had whatever you put in that was the most amazing drink. I felt like I was drinking pure life. And I think you should bottle that up, Twister, by the way, and start selling it, because what the heck was in that? I still talk about it. If someone gets here, I'm like, "You got to have Twister's 26 ingredient Jungle Juice. What's in it?" That was a moment I'll never forget.
Well, I'll say, man, it was number one. Thank you very much from my heart to yours for the kind feedback on that keynote that was given at the Under Armour, of which you've been their head performance coach, leading their council for so many years. So I know how well respected you are there. And that was a really challenging thing for me to stand up and speak, because although I speak and teach and coach in public and maybe get on stage for some big events, I'm a very private person. If you try and look back on social media to the main part of my cancer journey, you're not going to find anything on social media. I might reference it more recently, but I think the whole time I went through that cancer journey, maybe 6 to 10 people even knew about it, because I just dive in lone eagle and solve my problems and work hard. And I didn't want to scare people either. I know they'll be carrying of me, but they'll think of themselves. If I'm going down they're going to worry too much about themselves. I thought I'd talk about it when it can be shared successfully, so it can motivate people instead of produce fear in them. But I'm a very private person, and for me to stand up and open up in that way, I was very uncomfortable. I'm very comfortable public speaking, but uncomfortable doing that. And that was great because I learned that when I'm open and authentic and personalized, it does generalize to everyone. I saw in the audience, so many people are affected personally or their family or friends by cancer. And again, if it's not cancer, they themselves and their family and people they care about and in their life, their relationship, their career, their health, they have a number of what they consider intense challenges and difficulties and things to overcome, where they need resiliency and hope and belief and mindset and strategies and methods to overcome, regain, rebuild, and so on. Everybody. And so that was really a magic moment going, one of the best ways I can serve people is just be open and authentic. And the people who resonate with that at that time will receive what they need, and it'll serve people more. So that was very meaningful. I considered it an honor to be there. Fast forward on the Jungle Juice. What a great anytime to have you in Vancouver and have you over to my home. But I happened to find, knowing this was coming up, I looked in some files back from that day, and this is the today I will give everything I have. Today I will give everything I have. What I keep inside, I lose forever. And that just means showing up your best, your truest, giving your best to that moment, to the people in it, and being aware and respectful of them. That's not, people consider this and they think it's about training and showing up and bang, 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 I'm going to work my hardest. And sure, that's one part of it, but it's everything. When you buy your coffee at Starbucks, are you present, respectful, positive, appreciative for the 45-second exchange with the person who's working on the other side of the counter? Do you give your best? And on the back of this, I happened to write down, it wasn't a complete recipe, but I must have been making some notes and taking this to the grocery store. I'll tell you, I was so focused and intent on, at that time of cancer, everything I do, and coming out of it, you're healing, you're restoring, you're still, you have no idea if you're going to survive. If the cancer's gone, it's still at risk of coming back or growing. And I've lost my muscle mass, my brain's damaged, my cells on the inside of my face, throat are all burnt up. It's a big healing process. Then to rebuild, just to get back to where I used to be. And then, maybe if you just carry on and do those things that advantage you, you can get to a higher level. But at this stage, I'm just in the survive game. So I actually cleared out my kitchen, and I made an inventory, like a shopping grocery list, like someone would have in their business. If you have a warehouse or supplies or inventory, I had an inventory sheet of precisely what would be allowed in my kitchen in the cupboards. And I would take inventory and I would go to the grocery store. So I'm buying, alkaline foods and the most nutrient dense, organic and superfoods and things that would help anybody's health, but certainly be in my favor, beating cancer, healing from cancer, rebuilding my body. And that Jungle Juice that
what was some of the things in there? What were some of the things in that?
In the Jungle Juice?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I can rhyme it off right.
What do you got? What do you got? Folks, listen up. I want you to pick up the pace right now if you're working out, and listen attentively, because this is like really, really good information here. The 26 ingredient Twister Jungle Juice. It might not be all 26 ingredients, but you're gonna hear some good stuff.
We got OJ or watermelon is a base. Watermelon is alkalizing, so it's good. Greens, gotta have greens, spinach, kale, collards, chard, cabbage, broccoli to drink. Some berries, of course, cherries, which are alkaline forming, blueberries, strawberries. Carrots and beets are two great anti-cancer ingredients, nutrient dense. I put in lemons and grapefruit, which are acidic but alkaline forming, and I put the skin in as well. Coconut meat, which is the rubbery white part inside a real coconut, and avocado. And then some supplement things, omega-3 oil, flaxseed, hemp oil, even with all that stuff, I put in from a bottle, like you buy your whey protein, organic greens. Like there's a list of 100 different greens that are in that organic powder, super dense. Adding that in, some vanilla protein powder. I wanted protein and we needed that flavor in there. And more specific supplements, turmeric, lycopene, vitamin D3, 10,000 I use a day, MCP, which is modified citrus pectin, wheatgrass, grapeseed extract, some anti-cancer health cellular things. And then those were all in the Vitamix.
Folks, all of that was in the Vitamix. It was like drinking life. And you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. What's that? Exactly right. So I'm going to put that, Pete, if you can send me that over, a picture of that, folks, I'll put that in the show notes because I know you are feverishly trying to type that in the note section of your phone. And maybe we'll just give you 23 or 24 of the ingredients because you can soon get Twister's Jungle Juice in like Whole Foods Market. And I'm trying to get Pete to get the Twister's Jungle Juice and all of those things in one drink. Let me tell you, it was like drinking nectar of the gods. It was unbelievable. Now, you don't have to have cancer to be drinking that. That's some good stuff. Perhaps it's as a preventative measure just to give you the good juju, the good mojo, the good juju. That's the good juice right there. So, Pete, man, that's some good stuff. I always get asked when people read like one of my former blogs or something like that, like, what's this 26 ingredient Twister Jungle Juice? I'm like, oh, that's a special ingredient from Pete Twist.
Yeah. And the great thing is I have to say, well, the serious thing I have to say, coaching everyone up on this is, if you think this is expensive, staying healthy and preventing and not following the mainstream program that I'll say that the government endorses and approves and regulates, it doesn't produce good results. So if you want different results, don't do the same thing. Turn 180 degrees and get on a different mindset, activity, lifestyle, food, nutrient program. If you want better results, do something different. Can it cost a little bit more money? Perhaps, but it's a lot cheaper than getting sick and investing in overcoming sickness.
Amen.
So there's a great ROI and a quality of life. Invest in your prevention, and your prevention is in parallel with your performance and being at your best. I will say if I was drinking shakes at this time before this, it was probably OJ with vanilla protein powder with everything berries that taste good, strawberries, blueberries, and a banana. And that's it. Basically, it's sugar in a Vitamix with some protein. And so for me to go, the first shake that I had spinach and kale in it. And I thought, this is crazy stuff. And so I built up and kept making it more nutrient dense and more crazy ingredients that I normally wouldn't consider drinking. And some of these I didn't even consume before. But then picture TD walking in. He's got no acclimation or build up to this. He's just going straight what I call the plant mud. Basically, plant mud. But kudos, just like getting down the mountain. TD, you got this down your throat. You got all those nutrients inside of you. But I respect it. It was probably a bit of a shock to your taste buds.
I hadn't heard of half that stuff before in 2012 and 13. And I thought the base was coconut water, but man, maybe it was a mix of everything because that was some good stuff. Take a look at the show notes, guys. My last question in this, I'll call this chapter, this section on the cancer, because I think it's an important part of even where you're at today, which I want to talk about next. But Pete, obviously the last decade in going through this episode, you've learned a lot of lessons. You've sought out gurus in the healing and recovery in the whole healing world. What are some of your best habits or your hacks now that Pete Twist does to stay in great health? Obviously, nutrition is one, but what are the things that you're doing to live with the vitality? I see your social media posts. Whenever I talk to you, you're getting out in nature. What are some of the things that you're doing so that you can stay strong of body, mind, and spirit?
Cool. I guess, and take it from the cancer, I know health is wealth. And if I have my health plus, safety, food, water, shelter, right now I can build anything tomorrow. So that's valuable. I learned that exercise is stress So I was training like an animal all the time and keeping intensity up as we age. You know, we age more from disuse than we do from age. Much of aging research is a myth. So, but at the same time, exercise is stress. So I need to know, okay, I'm going to work extra hard sometimes, and I'm going to be kind and gentle other times, and more restoration. Exercise is good stress that builds my muscle and heart and lungs, but my cells don't know the difference between exercise as stress and cancer, or two people fighting and arguing. Like, it's just stress. So I learned I need some gentle times as well. And I learned, I was teaching sport nutrition at the time, TD, but then I got more curious. Why would I get cancer? I lifted up the hood of society, looked in, and I became more aware, not just the nutrients inside my food, but what do we put on it? Like herbicides, pesticides, is it GMO, is it organic? Is it meat that was, if I eat meat, is it meat that was raised with love and care, or are we torturing it in a factory farm and filling it full of drugs? And am I eating tortured, stressed, sick meat, or healthy meat? So how do we treat our food? What do we put in it, on it? How do we change our food? Is much different than what you learn in as a dietitian and so on with the nutrient composition. So look a little bit deeper. What do I do? What do I do today? I make sure I'm around positive energy, growth oriented people. And I'm really interested, and I respond well, health and mindset, to personal enrichment, from how can attitudes, from I will attitudes, from learning and growing, and my kind of fitness health hacks. I get into nature. I've got movement in nature for sure. I spend a heck of a lot of time in the rainforest. That's really where I get my good thinking and brainstorming and new ideas, creativity, and solve problems. But it's where I can stay grounded and reset. Maybe some of it's a byproduct from going through this, some of it learning how to do it. I'm very present in the moment, really appreciating and showing up for each moment, unapologetically, meaning all the busyness and everything around me, be it people, places, tasks to do, your thoughts, all of those wait. And, you know, I'm in that moment. I believe that nature in the forest, it's alive, it's high vibration. Well, I've actually got Your Brain on Nature is one of the books that I read. This is the effect of our brain and our cells when we're on nature, the biology of beliefs, which is the people we're around, their energy, our thoughts. How does that affect our cells? Research shows that it can physically damage or enhance our cells. And I went back to an old book I had, which was The Healing Power of Foods. So those are three pillars for me, for my health, TD. But essentially my main hack is I've learned to fluctuate. My main hack has been I've learned to fluctuate. I need to maintain that ability to drive and have intensity in my training. Otherwise, I'm going to lose that willpower, that ability to go for it, and not my mind and my body are going to decline. And I've learned, though, that I need to ebb and flow that with some gentle times and be kind on myself, and both are beneficial. And for me, get moving, get in nature, and then to load movement. I do a lot less, bicep curl, leg extension style, and there's good things with that. If you think of mobility and Tai Chi and things like that, but I load it with weight. So really loaded mobility. I'm trying to expand and open my body and my mind while I load it up. And I find that builds me in my hack is I build strength in long lines. Like, what muscle group am I working? I'm working the human body. I want to feel muscle tension overloaded from my feet to my fingertips. And I feel like I'm building in long lines, my body armor, getting my body armor back, but then training it for mobility, training it for movement skill. And interestingly, when I train that way, if you train that way, we get a lot more brain activity to orchestrate the body solve the puzzle of what's going on, and not only remapping our brains to be more skilled movement, but also building brain cells. You know, that saying, you can't teach a dog new tricks. That's another myth. Of course you can, and we can actually build, any age you're at, we can build new brain cells by how we physically exercise. And if we can, get this, if we can remap our brain, we rewire our brain to orchestrate how the body's handling a new movement challenge. And that process of pliability in the brain, I think it has the ability to also make our brain more open-minded, so we get less defensive, take things less personally, we're less rigid, so we're less combative in society, politics, and other things. And we physically give our brain the ability to practice rewiring, remapping, so it's more fluid, pliable, more open-minded. Hence, we can consider new ideas. We have the ability to shift during COVID without being as stressed and traumatized over it. We can collaborate and create better. We can enjoy people that have different religious and political affinities and so on, and consider their perspective, because we've trained our brain to be open-minded, because it's pliable, it's changeable, and that can come through how we exercise and how we get our brain involved. It's powerful.
Pete, I'm curious, out of all of this powerful knowledge you're sharing, when you were talking about nutrition, is there any foods that you do not eat because you believe that it's going to possibly contribute to cancer? Obviously, you shared what you are eating with food now, but are there any like no-nos? I stay away from sugar or alcohol, or is it everything in moderation for you specifically, with your mindset and with where you're at with your journey?
Yeah, I would say for the couple years after my chemo radiation, I was 100%, on a clean, nutrient dense, no fooling around program. But what I've learned from that, and you want something to be sustainable, that necessarily wasn't unpleasant. I had lots of stuff that tasted great, and I was feeling good because I'm eating like a better than an Olympic champion. But there's other things I like and enjoy, and there's a certain sense of psychological and emotional freedom to not having to stay 100% compliant within what's perfect. And so for TD, for us to be at Whistler and have a couple cold beers and some pizza, is that the best interest of my health if that's 7 days a week? No. But do we enjoy it? Do I enjoy it? And the fact that I can feel free and confident to do that without worrying, that's powerful psychologically. And I think that affects my health positively, as well as doing things we enjoy that feed our spirit. So, less ice, I want to have less sugar than more sugar, and more real, whole, nutrient dense organic foods. But my philosophy today, no, I'm gonna drink beer and eat pizza and so on. But the majority of my program, when I eat healthy food, here's the difference. I think a lot of people eat healthy, but they're eating mediocre healthy food. It's sort of healthy food. It's pretty good healthy food. So it's certainly excellent that they're doing that. But they're not eating exceptionally healthy foods, so they're probably not going to gain exceptional health from it. And so when I eat each day foods that are healthy, they're clean, organic, superfoods. I don't think you can do any better. Yeah. But over on the other end, I'm gonna have some junk or whatever we call it, just because I enjoy it and not sweat it and feel good. Plus, I'm in nature. I'm positive mindset. I'm exercising. I'm doing other things in my favor. So let's not get too excited about it. And on that side, I try and do that well too. Like if I'm gonna have ice cream, am I gonna have the cheapest ice cream available with more chemicals and more sugar in it, or am I gonna reach for Haagen-Dazs or something that's a high quality? And I try and on both ends of the spectrum go to high quality, which happens to go with taste and enjoyment as well.
Well, it sounds to me like we're due for another Whistler trip.
Absolutely. Or the pizza and cold beers, and we
Well,
can even ski.
Exactly. I can't ski quite yet, but I'm almost there. And the pizza and the beer sounds awesome. Hey, Pete, before I move on, I just want to say thank you for sharing all that. I know it's personal, your journey with cancer and overcoming that. I think it truly is inspirational. Whether you've had cancer or not, I think we all want to certainly, you said, health is your wealth. And we talk about some of those things you stated about. I would say he or she who has their health has 1,000 dreams. He or she who does not has one. Your health is everything. And you know that as well as I do, that, and you got to take great care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually so that you can operate at your highest and best self at all times. And sometimes life throws us curveballs, as Pete was in 2011. Hundreds of thousands of people in this last year with COVID-19. Sometimes life throws you curveballs, and how you react to that, how you respond to that is everything. So I just want to say thank you for sharing that very, very personal information, but I know it's going to help lots and lots of people. Don't forget, I'll put in the show notes some of the 26 ingredient twisters jungle juice as well. So that's coming up here as well. Wow. Oh, wow. My friends, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to stop this episode right here. There's so much great information and knowledge that Peter Twist is sharing when it comes to quarterbacking your own health, and health is your wealth. And then talking about his entire experience with cancer, overcoming cancer, and the physical and mental challenges that he did, including all the way to the 26 ingredient twister jungle juice that is in the show notes. Check it on out. I just want to say thank you for listening in. I'm going to have part 2 of this coming up on our next episode on Thursday. So check it out. Part 2 will be on Thursday with the continuation. And what I'm going to do on Thursday, I want to talk about the concept of change. Pete's making some huge changes in his brick and mortar business, along with how he wants to live his life moving forward. And this is truly, you're not going to want to miss that, along with some additional information for any Fit Pros, trainers, coaches, or life transformers who would like some wisdom from a 25 plus year industry vet on what he thinks the industry is going to be like in the years to come. That's all coming up this Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us today. What an epic conversation with Peter Twist. Truly an awesome one. Pete's handles, if you want to follow him on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, you can follow him at Coach Peter Twist, at Coach Peter Twist on Instagram. Give him a follow. On Facebook, just take a look at Peter Twist. You'll see all the greatness that he's putting out into the universe. Until next time, remember, my friends, you got to train hard. You must eat right. You got to live inspired. And don't forget to create impact.